Alright, so basically in the last episode, we kind of went over a little bit on RPG Maker MZ versus MV. Those two are kind of the things that I compared to. There's going to be some things that as we go through, if I find something that's different, we will kind of showcase that as we go along here. Just to kind of say, okay, is RPG Maker MZ good for you? I bought it so you guys didn't have to, but I also got it on sale. There's also another one that I told you last episode, RPG Maker Unite, which is Unity engine with RPG Maker. But let's get into today. Today, as you guys can kind of see, this is kind of like a shop. If you guys actually go look out at Crane, a shop is like right there for it. This is kind of like a shop for weapons and things of that nature, combined. And then you have the potion shops, which is what we're going to work on today. We're going to show you guys on how to create a good shop, an item shop. Now, there's going to be a few things in this game where if you want to sell something for a certain price, okay, we're going to use this kind of thing. So all I have to do really is let's take you, let's copy you, and now in order to create it, you don't want to, like, as you can see, if we go and look at actual size, we don't want somebody to be able to look over here. So when I did create the Crane shop, when I did create the shop locations, when you want to do this, you want to set this up to be 100 by 100. Leave the encounter steps. Don't need, if you're not, unless you're putting in. It will fill everywhere else, and then we go back. Let's capture you, and we will fill things. So let's take this over a little bit, just so that when we do make it. Now this we don't need. Now if we want to look at, when you look at buildings, it needs to be center stage. As you can see, that one and this one are center stage. Okay, so that means when you look at a building on the outside, you want to double the size that it is outside. So if you're outside and you say, okay, we have this going by 1, 2, 3 this way, you want to go 6. Generally double this, basically go 6 this way, and so 6 by 6 instead of a 3 by 3. The reason why that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and it's not. And you want to kind of, and as you can see, you want to also, if you do that, don't, like, it's 6 by 6, right? Want to add +1 to, when you look at it, as you can see, it looks squarish. So when you need something that's in the middle, you're going to have to add by 1. You're going to have to put it somewhere like in the middle. So 1, 2, 3. And then we have 3. It's going to make it a square, but we're going to go and we're going to add it by an additional 1. And then now, what we also need to do is we can go over here and let's gather the top. Now the top is, it's basically the material on the inside does not have to be completely exactly right. Okay, and then you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Basically, it is 7 in length, but it should look somewhat decent. It doesn't need to be, like, if you're creating like a potion up, you can make this, we can make this a little bit larger. Let's do this. So let's take this, we're gonna expand we're going to expand this out over by 1. And then we're also going to do the same thing over here. Okay. And then so all we did was just extend it by 1 this way. And then what we can do is we can just go no, let's do this. So if you want to move or extend it up by a little bit, all you no, hit Command Z. No, that sometimes I do this when I'm not using my mouse. Okay, so we want to make it look squarish. We need to make sure that you look at the material, how you set things up, and stuff. So now we've got that. Now let's create our material in here. So now we can come over here and look at the material that you used. Over here does not have to be the same material on the floor on the inside. So what I want to do is let's swap the material. Does not need to be the same material on the floor. It does need to be the same material that you would do like on an outside. Like as you can see on the inside, I could not find the material that looked like on the outside. So when you go on the inside, when it's like that like bluish tintish color, you can kind of try to make it somewhat similar. Now, what a shop needs is first off, you need a table, okay? So that's the first thing that you're going to need. Now, we could easily do something like this. Let's just do this, just to me. Okay. You can easily do something like this. We're gonna make it so that it looks like, and then now we're kind of trying to make it look like that there are like an item shop. So the item shop doesn't really need to have windows like that. So let's try what's this one? So if you look like that, that's not gonna look decent enough. Let's just take this portion here. And you can set up a couple of windows there. Kind of setting there. You can't see, like on the backside, you can't see those windows. And so you don't want to make it seem so dramatic. Like I was thinking about, if we go over here, we're just creating a game, guys. That's just kind of, you know, chest of drawers. No, there's like one that has like, because I remember there's miscellaneous items shelf, but there is one, I remember there is one in here that actually so we'll put like the convenience shelf. Like this is like kind of like a convenience store, but more of, if you look at it, it doesn't look like medicine. It's got It's gotta kind of look like that there's medicine on the shelf. And it doesn't have to be, let's use this. It doesn't have to be like the medicine does not have to be, and the medicine can be in like those kind of things, and it can look like, like this is like a pharmacy. This is kind of something that, in future we're kind of making something that's like modernistic in a futuristic, kind of like a futuristic setting, and like a traditional, RPG like Final Fantasy and things are typically done in fashion of old style games, and so kind of making a shop. As you can see, it looks bare bones, as we're still kind of thinking, but we got this back here. So now let's go over here. I want to utilize the TV, which, to be honest with you, there is a TV in here, but what we're going to do is we're going to replace this, and we're going to put the pillar with like a display shelf, like display thing there, and kind of, it kind of has that display on it. We can kind of make it, um, can I, no, I want to use, no, that's not gonna be something I want to fit in here. Let's find our chair. We have a chair that sits right there. We're using these kind of futuristic kind of chairs where it does kind of start looking like a futuristic place. But not all of it has to be modern or futuristic. Some of it can look old. It doesn't have to feel like, we can put this grate. And put a couple of grates back there. And when we do that, we can also come over here and start kind of placing like like we can throw, it's gonna be auto, but we're gonna put it right there. And if it's an auto, as you can see, we got those shelves and shelving in it there. We can set up, we can have those wooden grates there, but we're gonna throw like a plant sitting on, a couple plants sitting there. Kind of just make this seem more lively, I guess. And if you go out here and look at Crane, there's a large window sitting over here. So when you got that large window, we can come over here, and we also got to look at how you have things set up. So we have a large window, and it looks like that it's, and we're just gonna put this as like that there, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna come out here and we're gonna place you there as well. Just to kind of make it seem much more open. you know. So that way, it kind of looks this way. And when you go over here, there's two small windows. So when you look at something like this looks decent. But when you come over here, and as you can see, this is our weapon shop. The weapon that sit on here aren't there. It looks empty. It doesn't feel. It looks like these are empty. Well, they are, because in part of the game, you can put that as like a story where they have these metal tops where there's nothing there. There's nothing sitting on them because they're empty. In this one, they have been. It's been kind of a little bit empty here where they can't get the military weapons. Like it's very hard to get the weapons they need. You know, when you go in and you can buy it, it's like 500 for like a weapon or thing, and it only takes like, you know, it's only kind of a thing. But when you look at it and you say, okay, we got Windows, well, we need to set up Windows. We can set up Windows like that there, or we can go and say, do something like that where it has the windows are sitting there, and they're not all the way out, so you can look at it and say it caps off at a certain spot, you know. So it's interesting how things can go around when you look at things like that. It's not like we're going in and making it to be out and extravagant. So when you are in the shop, make sure that they are conservable a distance away from each other, so that they're not like all sitting clumped up to each other. That's why you always put your shops at 100. And then if you have shops that if you want to shrink it down by 1, by 2, shrink it down until you don't need it to be as big. Do that, but don't try to do it too much though. Try not to make it. So now once you have this is where things are going to start coming into needing of an events. When you want to create a shop, okay, it's easy to create an it's easy to create a shop by right-clicking, click on New Event. Okay, you can name these events however you want. I just usually leave them EV007. You can change it however you want to name them. But here we're going to create a character. So we need a character. So let's take a randomized character. Just click you. Okay, and say, okay, so now what you want to do is you want to create, okay, so this is like a medicine. This is kind of like a pharmacy. This guy is a pharmacist. And we're going to take, let's say, hit Control 1. No, let's say, hit Shift. I always start with how are you, but let's do something, that's how I usually start it is, we don't have a lot here, as the UNR troops have blocked our, blocked. Now, when you want to do have blocked our trade with other cities, and okay, you can take a look at the medicine we have. Okay, now you can look at the medicine we have. Now, I don't spell medicine quite right. I know I don't. But we're just going to show you this, how it works. So, now, I'm not very good at English, guys. Writing English. Okay? That was kind of one of the things. And then we can say, okay, so once you've got your shown your text, you can say yes or no. Have that there and say, okay. Now, when you create this choice, you can say yes. You want to go over here to shop processing, which is in the third one. You can set it up to purchase only, which I'm going to do. In this area, you could only purchase. You cannot sell. In this game, I'm actually going to do is have like a thing where you can actually sell your goods, where it's like a little shop that basically, hey, you can buy something, but it's going to be like, or whatnot. You can't, like, we're making the merchant there. When you go to items, okay, we're going to sell potions. You can specify, potions are 100. When potions are 100, your sellback rate is going to be half that amount. So if you sell it for $100, 100, it's only going to give you 50. If you set the specific item to say 200, still only going to be sellback is only going to be $50. Is only going to be at 50. Okay. Okay. Like you can specify standards at things. Like, we're going to throw magic water in here for this price. And as you can go in and you say, okay, so he only gives potions of magic water. He doesn't give, like, revives or anything like that. There's not a lot that he can do. Because, unfortunately, he's kind of this thing where they haven't been giving much. In the other shops. You kind of want to say that. And if you say yes, and then you say, okay, then you can come over here and say, thanks for looking. Thanks for buying. Okay. Now you can say thanks for buying. Thanks for looking. Thanks for looking, or but thanks for looking. Okay. He doesn't have a lot to sell. He does have a few extra medicines there, but aren't necessarily he has like food there as well. It's not just like his pharmacy has got a little bit more, in that kind of stuff. And then says, well, if you need anything, come back. Come back later. Okay? And that's what you can do. Now, when you want to go in and you want to be able to come in from a certain location and come out from a certain location, easiest way that you can do this is by hitting Control 1. Okay? This is going to allow you to jump between locations a lot quicker if you need to create something. Now, if you're here, you want to click on Retain and go to Crane, and then you're going to come in here and you're going to push right to that point. Okay? Now, when you want to go in from a shop, going in, you can create it by hitting Control 2. Okay, Control 1 is going to allow you to jump between locations, whereas this is going to jump between for doors. And as you can see, you could have it like a wooden door, but we're not going to be using wooden doors. We're going to be using Sci-Fi Doors. And the Sci-Fi Doors that we are using are going to be these ones in this town for that nostalgia thing. When you do so, this is what it's going to look like when you create it. Now, I didn't show you where to transfer player. If you mistakenly make the mistake that you forgot that you're saying that the door keeps popping up at 11.7, the same location, you can always come back in here and say, okay, right click. You can right click, or you can double click on it, left click on it, and change. You can It's space. You can also do the same thing if you need to go a lot quicker. We want to make sure it's create shop and go right there. Okay. Now, that's going to say, okay, retain the destination that you came in. That's fine. We're going to hit OK. Now, when you go in and you want to test that just to make sure that you did everything properly and correctly. Now, when you say something, when you set the, I don't, hold on. Okay. So we'll show you guys how to set up the introduction a little bit, a little bit later. So now when you want to go in, as you can see, you can probably go back. I'm going to put, you can also make it so that people can't really go back there. We don't have lots here as our troops have blocked. I spelled block wrong, so you can change that. Trade with other cities. You can take a look at the medicine we have if you want. Okay? As you can see, when you go into potions, you say, okay, you have 200 potions, right? Okay? It says, thanks for looking. And as you can see, we did things properly. Yes, a potion. Now, when you bought that potion, okay, now you have 2. It says, thanks for looking. Now, if I say, no, well, if you need anything, come back later. Okay? And as you can see, that's kind of how you make your shops. If you come in here and you want to say, okay, let's go over here and show you these guys. As you can see, these chests are openable. Do give you 1,000, a 1,000 to start with. Now, when you want to buy something, you can buy basic rings or bandanas and things like that. Or you can come over here and you can talk to this person. Well, we don't have much. Take a look if you want. As you can see, okay? And then we can go and say, okay, let's equip. To show you guys how to equip stuff, okay? Let's just show you that you can also click on optimize, which it's telling me to optimize. Might not be, if you look at it, it just loses an agility, but it increases your attack by 1. So when you want to look at something, you want more agility, you don't need to have to go that attack route. But this is a double barrel shotgun pro, which gives you 1 plus attack, but you lose an agility in the response. So do you want more attack or do you want more speed? Sometimes the thing will access what you want. Now, he does not have one. As you can see, you have to go out and buy it. So, as you can see, that's how you can do it to make things transferable. And that's kind of how you set things up. If you want to equip stuff, that's how you do it. Now, I have this thing where I'm using this quit thing from somebody, and I need to actually kind of wish that it was a lot better in those terms. Now, when you want to create something, now that's kind of how you show that. Now, there are some ways. Now, let's show you guys how to also, today we're showing you how to create a shop. In today's episode, we're also going to take you guys on how to start creating where you want the game to have 0 transparency. This means where when you start the game, okay, and you want the game to say, okay, you're trying to create an intro like I did, like I showed you. You can go down in here and go to System 1 and say, Show Start in Transparent. You want to set this up as Start in Transparency. When you do that, that will allow for it to happen. Then you can come over here. Okay, when you go into the intro, this is where your character shows. But when I want to do this and say, okay, we have it fade out the screen, we can have it say new. We can have it come over here, and you want to say, okay, change transparency to on. Okay, this means when you start the game, it says this. Okay, I just love this planet. I can't make my most. I just love this planet. I can make my most recent creation. I think I can start making my new soldiers here in the mountain down there. And then 60 frames later, which is basically just allowing you some time. 10 years after showed up, his men have taken control of Aether. Basically, he's kind of this guy that's, his latest creation. If you guys remember back on my other two, the other one hasn't been released out fully yet because I haven't got it there. But remember, if you remember the first one, it's going to be based tailing off the first and the second game. I'm only showing you guys, I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm just going to show you guys how to create small things as I go along in development. So we might not get into everything today, but this is kind of showing you how to create like an introduction and an outro kind of thing like that. And then you can say, okay, then you say, okay, you want to create text. When you want to fade out screen, you can go in and just look at the fade out screen, which if I show you, fade out screen is on number 2 right there. So let me have it set up to show transparency. When I showed you guys that the transparency wasn't there, when you create an introduction, you want to make sure that when you create an intro scene, turn off transparency. If you're not going to create an intro scene, you just let the game be the way that it is, just let it go. Okay? And then I don't have things, I will go back in. You want to make sure you go back in and correct all of your punctuation and stuff as you go. If you have somebody that wants to come in and fix your punctuation and things, fix your English, then have somebody help you do that, have somebody look at it. And then you kind of, when you want to create like waiting frames, as you can see, spacebar is going to be your best option to access to change this. This is going to show you how many frames that are waiting. Okay, the reason why I set that to wait for 30 frames is so that when you get this text will show up and then transfer the player to crane and then self-control switch A. When that happens, all I'm doing is just turning this off as if it wasn't there so that it doesn't consistently run, because it will auto-run as you go through. When you set up something, you want to set it up as auto-run if you're trying to create it at the start of the game. Don't set it to action button. Don't set it to player touch. Don't set it to event touch. Don't set it to parallel. Set it to auto-run. Parallel is only if you want something to auto-run and let the character go in itself. So let's go click yes. Okay. Now when I say click on new game, you can see our character's not there. Okay. Anyway. Okay, it just gives us a little bit of that sense of waiting. And the reason why I did that is these UNR drones and troops are trying to get our town and planet. Basically, the mayor knows about this, but but you don't get a lot of information. Sometimes you want to hide some of that information in characters, like in town, and so that people can go and find ways to look. A RPG game doesn't need, an open world RPG game like this mine's not completely open world. Okay, it's kind of linear. and it starts gradually opening as you get. Now, as you saw, the character did not show up. So, and it's supposed to show turn transparency on. Make sure that you change transparency to off. If you do that, that means that your character's still not going to show up when you fade out the screen. Okay, when I said set on, okay, I could have easily said on and then had it turned off, but it's you can set it up to start in transparency and then just have that there, and it saves you on there in anyway. Unless you can like a visual novel, that's kind of like because you can't create a visual novel in this game, and just but it's going to be a lot harder to do so. And then as you can see, then you got your characters and you can roam free however you'd like. Okay? Some of those characters might not be able to talk to, but it feels more lively. Like, I'm kind of just showing you guys how things go and about. Now, the reason why over here there isn't a lot over here is just because there isn't, there isn't a lot. The town is really weak. Is really weak within the game itself. Crane itself isn't going to have, it doesn't have a lot of going on for it. Like there will be like this is like an inn down here, where it's going to be it needs to look like a rectangle. It doesn't remember when you go in, it doesn't need to be doesn't need to look small. When you look at the building like this, where it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3, 5 by 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's 3. It doesn't need to look like a small space. When you go inside a building in a typical fashion of old-time RPGs, buildings are going to look bigger inside than they're going to look on the outside because in a game like this, you don't have a lot of space. I don't want to have to go sit here, and let's say I need a large building. Well, let's say we just extend this out and say we have a big building. That is not a big building, by the way. Okay? We can easily just do that and if you made a mistake, hit Control Z. For example, let's say I just go here, create this thing, and then I realize I don't want it. I can hit Control. I can click on the undo. Or hit Control Z in the undo process. That means that's going to allow for the thing, when you hit Control Z, it's going to allow you to bring back and reset that thing. So that's kind of some little tips and tricks there for today, guys. As you guys know, if you guys are looking for music and stuff, go buy some of the RPG Maker music stuff. Yeah, some of them are like $30, but if you can look for the author elsewhere, or find their actual website, like go for that and see if you can find things, for music. So just kind of taking a look at, as you can see, it kind of looks lively. When you want to create, like I showed you in the previous episode, when you want to create like a character, we're going to create another character just to kind of show you guys this. Let's create another one. Let's go down here. We'll show you the character generator in the next episode, I guess. So we'll do this here. And then basically all you have to do is when you want to find it, make sure it's set to random, or you can have them set at a custom route and say that they can move at a certain route and pace if you wanted to. I just usually set them random, so that people aren't like going around and looking around for people and stuff. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed. when you are looking at things, if I'm missing something in creating characters, remember, I'm just showing you guys kind of some of the basic stuff here. If you're wanting to see how to start and create a character, go look at my RPG Maker MV series that I did a while ago. It's still going to apply that when I did the RPG Maker MV, it still will apply for MZ, since these both are somewhat similar to each other. So when you create something, it will show you when I show you how to create and your classes and stuff, you can easily get into that. I will put that in the RPG Maker MV playlist here somewhere, that you guys can always get access to that if you guys want to look at MV while I'm showing you MZ, or if you guys just want to look at some MZ stuff and show you guys that it's the similar stuff in MV as MZ. Nothing has really been changed, just maybe a few things here and there. And stuff. So I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna go and we're gonna say, yes, we'll save changes to the game. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe. And we will see you guys later.